So let's start off with a history lesson. Going back to July 2016, Hillary Clinton won the Democratic nomination for president at the conference in Philadelphia over her rival Bernie Sanders.
And so, my friends, it is with humility, determination, and boundless confidence in America's promise that I accept your nomination for President of the United States.
That would be all well and good if it wasn't for what happened in the month preceding that conference.
This morning, on the eve of the convention, WikiLeaks released thousands of emails from the DNC appearing to show favoritism towards Hillary Clinton.
WikiLeaks, a Russian-backed hacking group, released 19,252 stolen emails, as well as 8,034 attachments, sent amongst members of the Democratic National Committee. These emails showed a concerted effort by the DNC to prevent Sanders from winning the nomination, as well as a financial plan for the DNC and the Clinton campaign to work together moving forward after the primary had concluded. That weakened her platform, and when she went to face Donald Trump in the general election, well, we all know how that went.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, Mr. President.
But this doc isn't about the big players, it's about the small ones. After such a betrayal by the establishment Democrats, Sanders decided to run again in 2020, but who was going to support him after he was so clearly abhorred by the party? Especially in a swing state like North Carolina, where he lost by 155,897 votes in the primary. Who would go and knock on doors and make phone calls? Why do they care? Could they even win? That's who this documentary is about. It's about the swingers.
My laptop's screen is big enough to just.
You to fill this out. Well,
Hey, Zach.
Well, hello.
Hey.
How you doing, man?
Good, how are
Thanks
you?
for coming.
yeah. Thanks for letting me bring a bunch of crap.
Of course.
We
have
just today learned about this.
we put it together on Sunday when the staffer got here. We did have a table in the student center today. Signed up 86 people, so which was pretty awesome. So we've broken 700 for the ECU student organization for Bernie.
If I were to set up just a tripod with a camera
You're fine.
sitting right here, do you think this is out of the way enough?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay,
Go
awesome.
for it.
Thank
Do
you.
what you got to do. All right. My name is Zach Pate. I'm a volunteer with the Bernie Sanders campaign here in Greenville, North Carolina. Basically work here at the office full-time, 7 days a week to keep the place running. I would say since 2008, I volunteered for the Obama campaign, but when I really started getting heavily involved was in Bernie Sanders' campaign in 2015 and 16. Me and a couple of other friends, we opened a volunteer office here in Greenville, downtown, and that's where it really got started. Well, I think especially nowadays, people really see, kind of how their future is not looking too bright in terms of just everything in general, whether it be Donald Trump, whether just the fact that, you can't get a job that pays a living wage. If you do get a job, the job doesn't give you health insurance. If you want to go to school, you're going to come out $40,000, $50,000 in debt, and you're going to be paying that debt off for the next 30 years, 40 years of your life. And it's just not a sustainable system for anybody. And I think especially young people realize it, and they're very aware of climate change. They're very aware of different issues with social justice, economic justice, racial justice, and they want to do something about it.
I'm Joseph Spence. I'm out here supporting Bernie Sanders. This election is very important to me. This is probably the most important election of our lifetimes. Healthcare. Healthcare is the most important issue to me. Everything revolves around that. It affects everybody living in this country. Rich, poor, young, old, no matter what race, color, creed, religion you are, healthcare affects you. And right now this healthcare system is antiquated at best that we have now. And I'm sure everybody has horror stories from it. Number two would be college debt. We need to rid this country of college debt. I mean, it's just a ridiculous amount of college debt we have in this country. Usually I have the number offhand, but I don't have it right now. But it's just a total burden, especially on my generation and the generation that comes after us, Gen Z. Third issue would be, to me, is the climate, which should be number one, but it affects not just the United States, but the whole world. I know the unfortunate thing is we have a lot of people in office, and this shows you what kind of candidate Bernie Sanders is. And I hate to say it, but Bernie Sanders is probably not going to live to see the horror that this this climate's going to create. My generation will, the younger generation will, and probably the generation that came before me will. It's going to be terrible, and we have to act now before it's too late.
My stage name here at Open Mics is Lil Eddie, so I like that. My biggest thing is universal health care, but I'm going to talk about education because I found out something really interesting the other day by a younger person who's paying off their debt. When I went to physician assistant school in 1990, I was 40 years old. When I graduated in 27 months, I owed $58,000 to Duke University just for tuition alone. I went to work in a rural community in Columbia, North Carolina, and Gatesville, North Carolina, for 27 months, and the federal government paid back the $58,000 that I borrowed to go to physician assistant school. What a blessing. Out of school in 1992 with a master's in health science and a physician assistant agreement to be able to work, I was making $31,000 a year and paying $300 a month to pay my loans back. At 70 years old today, I would still be paying student loans back had it not been for that program back in the 90s. I recently talked to a young girl who has graduated in social services. She worked for 2 years as a rape counselor here at the ECU area, starting out in 2019 at $31,000 a year as a social worker, owing, I think she said $40,000. She can have a program where she can work for 10 years in her field and they will pay back half of what she owes. The way the program is set up right now, you can make a monthly payment every month for 2 years and only pay back around $1,000 was what one of the kids have told me recently with the interest rates and the way the program is set up. This is so unfair. This is so unfair. This is ridiculous. It's always about the money for somebody to have the money. I back Bernie 100% to give the kids nowadays the opportunity to have something as beautiful as I had or no loans to be paid.
One person doesn't have the ability to change anything, but when all of us come together to volunteer, to knock doors, and to call people, the impact is monumental, and that's why we're winning right now.
Thank you so much.
Yep, no problem.
Now, honey, don't you ease my mind. There's nothing that you can say